Good morning. I just decided to do a live because I'm out for a lovely walk. I'm just after a gym session after a week and I actually feel so grateful that I went and did it this morning. I just wanted to come on and do a quick live because it's easier than recording a video. But so I have a community set up for clients who've been with me before called the Intrepid Soul Family, and I got a question yesterday from one of the women in the group, and it was about body talk, which is something that I talk about in my 8-week holistic life skills program that I do. And essentially the whole concept and the whole idea is that your body is speaking to you, okay? So whenever we have disease and disharmony, whenever we're experiencing physical symptoms, it's normally at the point whereby we've ignored all the whispers and we're only now beginning to listen to the shouts. So as somebody who uses Reiki in her business, I see it a lot, that Reiki is working with energy. And when we're working with energy, we're working with emotions and feelings. And so what we're doing is we're releasing old stagnant energy, old trapped stagnant emotions, blockages, all that kind of thing. And I'm trying to move away from an ever increasingly slow tractor that's moving towards me. But basically in Reiki, what we're doing is we're clearing the energy fields, we're clearing the blockages, we're clearing the stagnant energy, we're clearing unprocessed emotions that all they really wanted was just to be seen, felt, heard and understood and let go, right? And we just, as humans, we don't know how to process our emotions. So when I'm working with Reiki, that's what I'm working with. But a lot of the time people will come to me with physical disease or physical disharmony in their body. They'll have health issues that are chronic and going on for long periods of time, and they don't really know what to do with them. There might be digestive issues, migraines, headaches, it might be IBS, you might have any myriad of issues. You might be recovering from cancer, you might have eye issues, ear issues, aches and pains, something in your body that just doesn't seem to go away, backache, the whole lot. And when we get to the point of this being in our life, usually it means it's been whispering at us for a while, okay? And I know it sounds a bit weird and strange and random if you haven't kind of heard this philosophy before, but when we start to look at how the body is speaking to us, it speaks quite literally. And I see this a lot when I'm doing astrology with people who have Chiron, the wounded healer, in Taurus, the sign of the body. I see this quite a lot. There's a distrust of the body. There can be chronic issues going on, and it can be an indicator that that the body is speaking quite loudly and they're not hearing it. Okay, so what I do is kind of look at, well, what is the body trying to say? What is it actually trying to communicate? And quite often it can be really literal. So in my community, in the Intrepid Soul Family, one of the women in there was saying that for the last month or so she just keeps dropping things on her feet, she keeps injuring her feet, and it's one foot in particular, it's her right foot, okay? So she keeps injuring it in some way, shape or form, or there's stuff going on with it, or she's hitting it, or things are falling on it, or she's scraping it, or whatever it is. But because she's been on my 8-week holistic life skills course, and because we kind of spoke about body talk and how the body's communicating with us, and how everything that happens in our life is actually communicating with us in order to be able to help us to find what the problem is and release and let it go. So basically what I did with her was I just said, she did the body talks with me, and then basically what we did was we had a look at what are the meanings. So it was her right foot was the issue, and what we would first of all do is we look at, well, left and right hand side of the body have different polarities. So the left hand side of the body is associated, I'm sorry if the noise is really loud because there's a tractor up there, and I'm trying to stay away from where there's loads of humans to do this video awkwardly. So the left side of the body is all to do with the feminine side, and the right side is all to do with the masculine. So and then also when we look at the feet, what are the feet responsible for? So if you think about feet, you're talking about not putting your foot down or not putting your foot down. You're talking about putting your foot in it or not putting your foot in it. You're talking about putting your best foot forward. You're talking about you know, and again, if we're kind of going to combine your feet, like your feet are what move you forward in life. It's what progresses you. It's what it's how you move in the world. It's, you know, it's how you move about in the world. So if we were to look at the combination of it being the right foot, masculine, and we're looking at it to do with putting your foot down or perhaps how you move about in the world, we would also look at things like, okay, career. Our careers tend to be quite masculine in terms of they're very action orientated, they're very goal, success driven. There's always a challenge of some sort. There has been in my jobs in the past anyway. And they're about like bringing in the money, bringing in, you know, the putting the bread on the table and protecting and creating stability, right? So that's all very masculine type energy in its own way, not completely, but in its own way, okay? So what we might do is look at where in our life are we not putting our foot down? So do we live in a masculine dominated environment and are we feeling like our boundaries are being stood on, feet, and therefore we're not standing up for ourselves, feet? Do we feel like our masculine is more dominant in our energy, especially for women? Like, so we would look at the right foot calling attention as if to say, like, are we kind of more in our masculine energy than our feminine? Or do we need to be more in our masculine energy than our feminine? So these are all things, they vary from person to person. I would also look at home life, you know, for women at home, you know, is it a kind of thing that you're feeling that maybe you're playing the more masculine role and that you're hoping that your partner will step up into that role, and maybe there's a bit of resentment for it, you know? So maybe that you're needing to be more in your feminine, but it's your masculine that's kind of showing up more. And you could look at it in the opposite way, you know, are you not creating boundaries at home? Are you not, are you feeling like you're not moving forward? Are you feeling like you're stuck? Are you feeling like you're not progressing? Is there something in your life that you're not looking at that's trying to move you forward, and perhaps you feel fear around that as well? I know it sounds very, very abstract, but it's really, really beautiful. I have seen this work gazillions of times, over and over and over again, and it's so literal. Like, the body is so literal, which is why we kind of need to look at our language. Like, I would say, if there's something going on with your body, you need to have a look at, like, what is the language I normally use around this? So, what else? Like, for example, like if you've issues with the eyes, what is it you're not seeing clearly? What is it that you don't want to see? What is it that you don't want to look at in your life? If you have issues around the ears and hearing, what is it that you're not hearing? What is it that you're not listening to? Or what is it that you don't want to listen to, you know? Around the throat usually is all around expressing yourself, expressing your truth, being your true authentic self. Hey Selena, how are you doing? It's usually about speaking our truth, speaking and using our voice to communicate who we are, thoughts and ideas. So if you've got constant sore throats or you've got constant throat issues, need to look at, like, what is it that you're repressing in your throat that you're not speaking out? And actually things like, especially for the throat, and we're back to Taurus again because Taurus rules the throat, things like singing can be really, really helpful. Chanting mantras can be really, really helpful to kind of get the resonance in there as well. So these are all things that you can do. But even things like your hands, what can't you handle? You know, what is it that you're not able to handle? Skin issues can be to do with boundaries, you know, people crossing your boundaries or you not having good boundaries. What else? I'm like trying to think of all the things. Literally, do you have a pain in your butt? You know, if you have a pain in your butt, you might have a pain in your butt with stuff. If your back is sore, lower back tends to be money and financial issues. Your hips tend to be where we're not moving forward in life, specifically fears that we might have. So if you have tight hips, it might be that you have a fear of moving forward. There's so many different things that we can do. And so basically in my 8-week Holistic Life Skills course, this is something that I go into. And the Holistic Life Skills course is very much focused on showing you how to interpret life and how life is trying to constantly communicate with you. Your external environment is literally reflecting back to you clues on how to answer your own questions. And the more we can speak the language of our own world, we can start to look at, say, repetitive patterns in our life, repetitive relationships, people who see same types of people who show up in your life over and over and over again. There's a reason for it, and they'll keep showing up until you can figure out the reason. Negative repetitive patterns will keep showing up in your life until you bring into conscious awareness what the reason is behind it. And it's those aha moments that release that and let it go. And our body is no different. So our body, where we have like repetitive injury and repetitive strain showing up in our body, are you over flexible? In life, are you over flexible? Or do you have lots of stiff muscles? Are you rigid? Are you too fixed? And do you need to loosen your perspective on things a little bit? So again, these are stuff that I go into much more detail in my 8-week Holistic Life Skills. If you want to join, I do 1-to-1. I also do group work sessions as well. I'll be probably opening up something around January for my next group work 8-week Holistic Life Skills training. But otherwise I do 1-to-1 as well, which is a lot more personal and focused on you. But that's just to give you a little bit of an insight, to show you how your world is literally communicating with you all the time. But we just haven't been taught that, and we haven't been taught how to interpret the language of what's actually happening. We haven't been taught how to, when something is happening to us, it's very easy for us to be like, oh my God, like woe is me, and life is happening to me, and all these things that are happening. When in actual fact, there's like gold nuggets of wisdom in each and every happening. And I'm not saying it's always easy to figure out, but the process is simple. So it's the kind of thing that it's a practice that you need to put in. And it's a bit like speaking a language for the first time. You're not going to be able to speak it and understand it for the first time straight away. It's something that you need to put the time and effort in the practice to be able to begin to interpret your environment and your world. And I can guarantee you, when you do this work, you won't feel victim of your world anymore. And when a challenge comes up, instead of being like everything dropping, you're going to be in a much better position to be able to be like, ooh, what was the meaning behind that? Like, or how can I figure it out? And it's not like, what's the meaning behind that because this thing has happened to me and I'm a bad person and I need to figure it out. It's not that at all. It's that these things are happening as an opportunity for growth. And my God, the amount of layers that you can drop when you start to do this work. So if you're curious and you want to know more, this is only one teeny weeny tool that I teach in my 8 weeks course. There's so many more, like natural, practical tools. You were born onto this planet with every single tool that you need. You just haven't been shown how to use it. And I think I've said this before. I'm not going to rabbit on much longer. But I've said this before in other videos, a bird in a tree, all these lovely trees around. How does the bird know how to crack out of an egg? How does a baby bird know how to crack out of an egg? How does the bird know how to get out of that nest for the first time? How does it learn to fly? Animals are born with all the tools that they need to survive, right? And humans are no different. We have just been bred and programmed to think that we're dependent on our external environment to be able to support us, because we live in a consumerist, commercial, whatever the word is, world where we're constantly being programmed that if we don't have this thing, then we won't survive, right? And actually all of your tools for self-survival and self-sufficiency, you have them at the moment. If you were plopped onto a desert island with no clothes, absolutely butt naked, you would still be able to survive. But you just need to be shown how to the user's manual to life is there. It's just been hidden from you, because if you don't have it, then you're dependent on the system. If you don't have it, you're dependent on your external world around you. If you don't have it, you need money. If you don't have it, you need money to access things. So we are at a point in human history where we need to come back to who we were. We need to come back to our natural instinctive selves, and we need to reconnect back in with our intuition. We need to reconnect with who we are, and we need to remember the gifts that we were already born with. You don't need, yes, you might need to learn them because you haven't been taught them from birth. But once you learn them, it's a language. It's only going to get easier and more fluent for you, but you just need to learn to speak the language first. So anyway, I'm going to continue on my lovely walk now. And if you have any questions, drop me a message. I'd love to know your feedback in the comments below. If you know anybody who would be interested in doing this, who's struggling at the moment, make sure to send this to them. Just hit the send button and share. This is my work. This is the work that I absolutely love. And if there's anybody that you feel will benefit from it, be sure to just send this to them. And yeah, like and comment, help my videos reach more people so I can help more people. And I shall talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.